You're listening to the Devil Dog Talk Show.
This show contains explicit material and is recommended for ages 18 and older for mature audiences only. But hey, it's the internet.
All right, everybody. So today we got a special guest on, Erik Knowles. That's right, Erik Knowles. You may have heard of him. You may have laughed at him, and that's exactly what he wants you to do. And today on the Devil Dog Talk Show, we have him on to promote his upcoming, or released already, I believe, right?
Yeah.
It's already released. It's go ahead and promote it, actually, because I am a soup for words right now.
All right. Well, it's on VetTV, which is a streaming service. It's only $5 a month. And just a little plug to VetTV itself. It's a network that creates programming, mostly comedy, for veterans by veterans. And it's like really dark, irreverent humor, the type of stuff that military folks and veterans like. And they have a stand-up comedy series where they highlight military veteran comedians. And I'm on the very first episode of season 2. The show is called Mandatory Fun. This season is called Uncancelled. And I have a 20-minute special there on season 1.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. So this, let's say, streaming service, right? Does a person have to subscribe? Is there a link to, follow right away? That way they're not in the mud.
Yeah. Well, you can follow them on all the platforms. On Instagram, just search for VetTV, Veteran Television Entertainment. It'll come right up. One of my reels is up right now. It's starting to catch on fire. It's like at 110,000 views in the first day.
Solid, dude. Fuck yeah, that's good. I always say if even one person looks at my shit, I'm happy. And it's usually my mommy.
Yeah, dude, it really does. It makes me so happy to know that like 110,000 veterans are out there laughing about the fact that I had a boner in boot camp. You know what I mean? Because that's the story that I'm telling in that particular joke. But yeah, you can, VetTV, like you said, it's a streaming platform that you can find in your app store. So in the Apple App Store or the Google Play, just search for VetTV and you can sign up. It's only $5 a month. They have over 1 million subscribers already. So it's a great platform for somebody like me because I've kind of made a career of entertaining the troops, and a lot of my material is based on my military time, my time as a joker in the Marine Corps.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Now, to build on that a little bit for our listeners, because I think, yes, this is the first time we've had you on, and to give it a little bit of backstory on yourself. Now, you breezed past having an erection, a profound, veiny, sustained erection during boot camp. How did you begin your military career? How did that go?
How did I begin my military career?
Yeah, how'd you come about to become a Marine? Were you in high school? Were you like dedicated to become a Marine? Was that your destiny, or was it one of those altercations happen and then the judge says, "Hey, either or"?
Oh, no. No, yeah, that's something I always wanted to do. Ever since I was a kid, I had a Marine Corps recruiting poster on my wall. I was super into, all the Army and Marine movies. There was a series in the 80s that I was super into at the time called Tour of Duty about the Vietnam War. And like my parents would get all my Christmas presents from the GI surplus, like the Army surplus store.
Nice.
So I had all the deuce gear and camo. I was always in the backyard with the BB gun playing Army guy. And when it came down to it, when I turned 18, I went to the recruiting station and walked right into the Marines. I knew I wanted to do the hardest one because, as a young man, you want to prove it to yourself and everybody else, what a man you are.
Right.
So I walked right into the Marine recruiting office and they were like, "All right, so you want to be infantry?" And I was like, I guess, like, what does that mean? I had no idea.
Wow.
And they're like, "Yeah, you'll be on the front lines." And I was kind of like, are there other jobs? And he started telling me, "Yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff." So
believe it or not, there's more than one job in the Marine Corps.
Take all the credit. Yeah, I was like, so I can get all the credit of being a Marine, but I could be a helicopter mechanic, maybe. You know, it was like, yeah. I was like, all right, sign me up.
Dude, fucking awesome.
So that's what I did. Yeah.
So you went in as the helicopter maintenance or aviation engineer. What is it exactly? Do you remember? I don't fucking remember the MOS or NEC.
Yeah,
shit.
I was a 60-94. Then they changed it to 60-62 for some reason, but it was a aviation hydraulics technician is where I ended up being.
Wow, dude. So where were you stationed at? Were you East Coast, West Coast, or kind of combo?
West Coast, man. Hollywood Marine. I was stationed at Miramar in San Diego.
Oh, so you're aware of El Centro then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where I was stationed at right before I got out, because that was the only time I've ever seen wing detachments in my naval career. I was like, wow. So what are you guys fucking doing out here? They're like,
I was gonna say, I didn't even know. I forgot there was even a base in El Centro.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's like literally in the middle of nowhere.
That would be a good place to promote and go out and do a few shows. Actually, I used to also work for the MWR. They had an old school theater with film, so I learned how to do the reel to reel film attachments for like a whole movie theater. It was pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, the MWR is great because, like you were saying, it's extremely isolated. And then you got Yuma, of course, just down the road. And that was the first time I ever learned about Colorado. There's like the top stumpings out there, and you guys do a lot. That's the premise of this. My point I'm driving across is like there's so much shit you guys do in 120-degree weather as the turbine's blowing on your ass from somewhere. Like, just no thank you.
Well, what do you mean, you guys? You were
I was a corpsman.
In Devil Dock.
Yeah. So I was an AC, man. I was in the clinic running a medical laboratory at that time.
Oh, see, when I hear corpsman, I think like the guys that are right beside us.
Oh, I did both. So I was FMF. I did the whole 8404 gig, deployed to Iraq and shit, and was attached to STP and FRIS out there, and that was great. Nice. And then came home and I was like, I'm not down for the clown, bro. I want to actually get a career out of something. So I went to lab school, and the goal was to go to PA school or doctory, right? Become a medical doctor. That's the dream job, right? And it didn't work out that way. The moment I got out to El Centro, I just started kind of not jiving off of it. Like the whole lab scene was not my life. I didn't like it. It wasn't a good vibe. So that's what I mean. Really? Like, trust me, dude. Like when you go out there, because I have some thoughts right now, speaking about promotion, I'm like, man, you could really hit these bases up and really just help people out, because it's a very different environment in these isolated bases like that. But so I eventually got out, and then I started doing podcasting like you're clearly on right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But to focus it back on you, bro. So you were an aviation mechanic, right? The hydraulic specialties. How did you become a comedian then? How did that work out? How did it stem from?
All right. Well, I've always been a joker. I've always been the class clown, the funny guy, and I never thought much of it. And I got in a lot of trouble in the Marines. I was not a stellar, top-notch Marine at all. I got busted down like 3 times in the first 2 years. Jesus. Back to private 3 times. I kept going E1, E2, and I'd get in trouble and go back to E1. So sometime in the first 2 years, like right after the 3rd time, I lost rank down to private again. Like half my command liked me and half my command wanted me out of there.
Yeah.
Half, you know how it is. But I got in trouble one day. I was working in the hydraulic shop, and our sergeant is like doing pass down for the day, trying to have a little serious talk at the end of the day. And I don't even remember what I said, but I said something that cracked everybody up and made everybody laugh. And it kind of pissed off my sergeant, just because it took the attention off of what he was trying to do. And he was one of the guys that liked me, but I was on his nerves. So he's like, he held me, after he released everybody, he had me stay back, and he's like, "Hey, Knowles, you're fucking up, you know. I don't want to write you up, because if we write you up again, you're probably going to get kicked out of here. You got so much paperwork. He's like, but I'm going to think of something, some kind of punishment for you. And we had like a weekend. He's like, when you get here Monday, I'm going to think of something. And this was like in December of whatever year that was, probably 99 or 2000.
Oh, wow.
And he said, so I came back Monday, and he said, he's got this smile on his face. I'm like, oh shit, what has he got for me to do? You know, what is this?
Good.
Yeah. Well, he had signed me up for every year we have a squadron Christmas party that sucks. It's like mandatory fun. Like, we have to go. It's on a weekend, you know. Everybody's there with their families, and at the Christmas party, they have a talent show every year. And that's always brutal. It's like some kid, somebody's kid playing the flute, you know, a little girl singing Silent Night. Well, he signed me up for the talent show as a stand-up comedian. So, you know, he's like, since you think you're so funny, you want to make everybody laugh, well, you got to do this, and you better win. And if you don't, you know, you're cleaning this shop with a toothbrush for a week. And so I was like, oh, crap. You know, I really liked that challenge. And I had about a week to prepare, so I just started writing jokes, and I ended up just roasting the whole chain of command. I started with him and worked my way all the way up to the CEO, and was just roasting everybody. And it was, luckily everybody, I won the talent show. Everybody was a good sport about it. Most people were. The squadron gunnery sergeant was not very happy, but that made everybody else laugh even harder because he was getting so mad. But I ended up winning the thing, and it became like a thing. So then people would come by my barracks room on the weekends, and like we had a little karaoke machine with a microphone, and they were like, Knowles, you know, do your little thing, you know, roast us, you know, tell some jokes. And I started to like it, and I didn't even realize I was doing stand-up, but it became like this every weekend thing. More and more people would come to the barracks, and I would just put on a show. You know, I would have new stuff every week. I started carrying around a notebook and writing jokes. And, you know, that carried on all the way through my career until I got out. And I started another job, a civilian job with the Department of Defense as a helicopter mechanic, kind of the same thing I was doing before, but just on a different base and wearing civilian clothes. And I missed doing that, so I would just, at the lunch table, have everybody laughing. And everybody, you know, a lot of people all throughout my life were like, dude, you should be a comedian. This is crazy. And one day somebody brought me a clipping. They had cut something out of a newspaper, and it was that one of the local comedy clubs was putting on a stand-up comedy class, like a workshop. And they all encouraged me to do that. And, you know, so I signed up for it, and I figured out, okay, so this is how you become a comedian. You go to the open mics and you create material and you showcase. And man, I just got bit by the bug and just took off and never looked back. I ended up quitting that job as a mechanic, a helicopter mechanic. I had a great job with the DOD. Wow. And I quit and just to become a comedian.
With the years in and everything, huh?
Oh yeah, I had a savings plan. Like, yeah,
that's
and and I've been broke ever since. Yeah, but I'm the happiest I've ever been, dude. I wouldn't change a thing.
Dude, that is amazing. So that honestly, it just fills my heart with a lot of like laughter and joy, bro. Because having that connection again with your troops and your guys, and then having fun in general, you know, not being too worried about where money's going to come from. But man, you know, looking back at it, that's a beautiful path to get from point A to point B. So when you started in the industry and you started actually booking shows and going on live, what did that feel like? Were you able to transcend exactly what you did and learned while you were just joking and smoking at the barracks, or was it a huge difference?
That's been like the magic of it. Like, I've been back overseas. I've been to I went to Iraq as a Marine at the beginning of the war. You know, I got stop lost and ended up having to go get in the sand. And I've been back over there twice as a comedian now. I've done 4 tours overseas, you know, 2 as a Marine and 2 as a comedian. Awesome. And Oh, believe me, it's not lost on me when I'm standing in that sand again as a VIP. You know, when I was the dude on the working party all the time because I was always in trouble, and now, like, I have an escort, I have a security team when I go over there. They're calling me Mr. Knowles. Yeah, man. I shake hands with all the CEOs.
You're the guy they want to meet. Yeah.
Yeah, it is insane. And I love to do it so much, man. I love entertaining the troops and going to military bases and even stateside because you know they're always so grateful and it's my people and just to be back on those bases and smell those smells and just all those memories come back and I miss, you know, we all miss the camaraderie once we get out, and it's been my way to stay connected, you know.
That's beautiful. Yeah, honestly, dude, that's exactly what I love the most about podcasting is the ability to connect and reconnect and, you know, discuss and promote and just really shine a light on the community as a whole. Of course, it starts out, you know, hey, I wouldn't say selfish, but I think every journey starts out a bit selfish. And then as it's progressing, you learn more and more. It's like all tides raise all boats, you know, like high tides raise all boats. And it's just a cool vibe. Like I really enjoyed that taping because I was there and I was front row center. Mike was like a breath of, like, you guys' dicks was like really right in my face, and I'm like, am I supposed to? I don't know what I'm supposed to look at. You know, I'm a corpsman,
That's
and
the best seat in the house, bro.
Yeah, I half expected one of you guys to be like, hey, can you check this dick out, doc? Like, I'm like, I don't know, I don't know how appropriate that would be. But it was awesome, and just hanging out and seeing the show, of course having a few beers, I love that. Everybody in the room had such a great time. The vibes were just really great, and to hear that you use that to reconnect, you know, that camaraderie and to establish a career that's successful. Like, we're talking about your special, the 20-minute special that's out. It's called Uncancelled again, or how? Uncancelled. Okay. Mandatory Fun Uncanceled.
Mandatory Fun Uncanceled. Yeah.
Got it. And it's season 2, episode 1, right? Which is a big deal.
Yeah. When you open up the VetTV app, I'm the first face you see.
There you go.
I'm the big banner right up top right now.
You see, like, that's fucking cool, dude.
Yeah. It's crazy, dude. It really is, man. It still overwhelms me. Yeah, man. And my career lately has taken off. Another Marine Corps brother of mine who's doing even better than me, Brian Simpson, he's recording his Netflix special at Joe Rogan's new club, Comedy Mothership, later this month. August, next month, yeah. And, you know, he's like really good friends with Joe Rogan now. He's in with the club over there, and he's been getting me in. And so now, you know, I've been doing a few shows over there and starting to turn some heads. The talent coordinator took me aside the last time I was there, and he's kind of bumped me up a notch to get on a few more shows. And I just got word today that I'm doing a fundraiser show there July 11th on Tuesday, 7:30 at Comedy Mothership in Austin with Ron White and Brian Simpson and Tony Hinchcliffe and probably some other big names that are going to pop in. And it's for, I forget the name of let me see. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let's go ahead and plug that properly.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it nice and proper, how the English say, even though I think that was
Yeah, so it's for an organization called the Heroic Hearts Project. They help veterans with PTSD.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's amazing because I don't think enough organizations discuss PTSD. I know we're just coming off of Mental Health Awareness Month and Men's Health and PTSD. Like, I hate that every month seems to have 1,000 organizational things we got to keep up with, right? But that's one of the things that I'm always happy to plug. It's called the Heroic Hearts Foundation.
Yep.
All right. Because it's one of the most difficult things to talk about. Oh, Heroic Hearts. Let's get it right. Heroic Hearts Project. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And of course, I'm writing it down like an old fuck right here. Okay, guys, like, give me a break.
He's chiseling it right now in stone. Hey, go ahead and fax that to yourself, old man.
Right? My brain's still uploading. The worst part is inside my head, I'm picturing the way the modems used to start up back in the day. The whole
Right?
Yeah.
That little hourglass turning and spinning.
Yeah. Just to see a little pair of tits or two on the internet and you're spending a whole 45 minutes, like, just go back to magazines.
Dude, tits were so much better when you had to wait for them.
Yeah. Or they were all scrambled up in the cable box and you can kind of see a titty.
Oh, yes. Dude, just the fact that they didn't scramble the sound, man. I used to jerk off to just the sound.
Oh my God, dude. What the fuck?
You know what I'm saying?
The saddest part is, yes, I do. I know.
Yeah,
I know
bro,
exactly
I got porn
what you're
audio.
saying.
I can close my eyes and imagine the rest.
Oh my God, it's fucking in stereo, but you know, it's probably how blind people feel.
Because they're spoiled today. They got it in 4K now. Instantly.
This next generation is spoiled. Like, you know, the truth about it, it's like with OnlyFans and everything on the internet. Actually, just even Instagram or TikTok, you practically have every era or every generation of that hot girl, right? Everybody's like, whoops, I don't even gotta take her on a date. It's $5 a month, bro. Like, shit.
I hate it, man. My biggest thing right now that I'm working on is trying to build my following on TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers just so I can go live. I'm just starting this. I'm at like 600 right now, so I got a little bit to go. So I can go live and do little special things. And so I'm looking at other TikTok lives, and most of it is just a girl folding her laundry with a low-cut shirt. And she's got like 10,000 people watching. And here I am with real talent, and I can't get anybody to pay attention to me. It's so frustrating.
It is. I
if you're
feel
out there
you.
listening, follow my TikTok. You can find me at Erik Knowles Comedy. I'll be wearing a low-cut shirt.
Erik Knowles Comedy. Everybody click that shit. So
Erik with a K.
It is Erik with the K. That actually threw me off when I was filling out the file on the DAW, you know, for the recording right now. I was like, am I spelling this correctly? Yeah, I swear to God, if I throw one more K in there, I'm getting canceled like a motherfucker. But
dude, if my name was spelled with a C, I would probably be famous already. That's probably the problem. Nobody can find me.
They're like, I can't find you. It's with a K. Oh, there you are.
You know what the problem is? There's a more famous Erik Knowles who spells it with a C. This is true. And he's an antique expert. Like he's on Antique Roadshow looking at plates and stuff.
Bro, you got to do like a whole skit based around that. Like, I mean, just start grabbing shit out of the drawer and be like, all right, everybody. And then plug him. And then be like, this is a 1957 coin, doubled back buffalo silver. You know, I don't even know what, but I want to
show up at one of those. I'm going to bring a camera crew one day and just show up at a real Antique Roadshow where he's there and just start smacking antique plates out of his hands. Like there's only one room for one Erik Knowles, bro. Just smash it.
WWE or was it WWE nowadays? There we go. I got it right. WWF style is what I used to think of. Just coming in, smacking plates, screaming at people, lots of woos, all that shit.
You know what this plate is worth, brother? Smash. 0.
The worst part is as a person that watched that show, all I'm seeing is the one that you didn't touch going up in value.
Oh, yes.
Increasing the rarity, one plate at a time.
See, man, I can't win even in my fantasies.
See, I don't know, man. I guess I'm too pragmatic. That's part of the win-loss over here.
Yeah.
Man, so let's go back to your comedy special. When you're developing this concept of course, it's based off of episodes and there's multiple comedians. What do you go in with as far as a mindset? Do you have to practice for like a month or 2 months? Or I have no clue what it's like to be a comedian, let alone to actually go, all right, like I have X amount of time. I know that these jokes take me 2 minutes to say. Like what goes into the math, or I should say the ingredients, and what's that brain work look like for you?
Well, to answer it simply, I just keep it simple, or I did this time. There's been times in the past where I've had a chance to do a TV spot, and I put a lot of thought into it, like you said, and time it out. But I've been doing stand-up for 16 years now. And for me, we can relate it to riding a bike. Once you learn to ride a bike, you don't have to memorize to pedal left and then right and then left and then right and turn the handlebars and all of that. It just comes naturally to me. So at this point, I'm like it's just easy. I'm doing BMX stunts on the bike,
Sweet.
Especially with this military crowd, and you were there, for VetTV for that kind of taping, it's about 100% probably veterans in the audience,
Yeah, there was this dude. My God, I don't mean to interrupt you, but there was this dude. I don't know. I'm pretty sure once I say it, you're going to remember. His laugh was so infectious. Yes. Bro.
He had... Yeah, Ebo's like, dude, you better be getting a percentage for that laugh. Yeah, he had I've met a couple other people with that. That's some kind of medical situation they're having where their throat vibrates when they laugh. So it sounded like machine gun fire.
Yeah,
he would laugh and be like
he's choking to death. I was I kept looking back, be like, bro, is your airway patent? I don't know how to pronounce that still, but is it open?
Right. Yeah, that was very distracting. And that didn't come through on the special. Actually, I was watching it the other day and I was telling my wife, I'm like, listen to this one laugh, but you can't. They must have had some good editors. Maybe they edited it out in the sound portion of it, but
that would be a tough edit because
he
was laughing his ass off. It really, honestly, as part of the crowd, it made it so much more funnier because everybody that went up that heard it, every comedian that went up, it was, I think, challenging not to laugh your ass off as well, to stay focused and get your set out. But dude, it just amped up everybody. Yeah. So you kept it simple for this. And when you do keep something simple, like you're saying, you bring up, BMX bike riding and stuff like that, you're doing your little tail whips, 360s, misty flips, 540s, and you're really knocking them dead. You're killing it. And I was laughing and laughing and laughing, dude. So what does it take to know that something works? Is it getting out there, or is it something or is it like a feeling?
Yeah, well, it's trial and error. Anytime I'm trying new material, that's my most exciting times, is having new stuff. It's fun to do the stuff that works every time, but as a performer, you kind of get tired of it. It's like Leonard Skinner gets tired of playing Freebird every time they go do a concert, but people want to hear it.
That's so true.
But, but it's just trial and error. When you try something new, I always record and I figure out what works and what doesn't. I take out unnecessary words. We call it trimming the fat. There's definitely a huge process to it. It's not just getting up there and being funny. There's a lot of mechanics involved with it. But once you get to a point, when people start stand-up, they say after it takes about 3 to 4 years to, quote, find your voice. And what that means is that's when it really is awesome. It's because it's like you cross this threshold where you figure out how you can say things, what feeling you have to have, a feeling of comfortability. And it gets to a point where it's all right, I trust this funny muscle that I have to be funny. So I can go up here and just talk about this idea. And I know it's going to be funny because if I say it in my voice, it's going to be funny. I don't know if that makes sense or if that's going to translate to the audience, but it's probably like that with a lot of public speakers. I just trust it. I trust the muscle memory and the brain memory, the brain muscle memory. Mm-hmm. I was going to say Marines, but comedians, we train ourselves to think differently. We really have to train yourself to think differently. We look at the world differently, and once we start it, we can't turn it off. I find I'm looking for the punchline in every situation of my life and every situation of everybody else's life. Sometimes it's not a good thing when you're at a funeral and you start giggling to yourself, and people look at you like, what the hell is this guy laughing at? And it's like, bro, I can't not. Like, it's funny. I mean, not the fact that somebody's dead, but we'll find something funny in it.
I mean, honestly, when you say it that way, it's the saving grace. I feel like when you bring up cemetery, you bring up death. And I think that, as you know, when you were deployed, everybody experiences death in their own right or own way.
Yeah.
And or just trauma in general. And I always found comedy to be my saving grace. It's like the you nailed it on the head. Like, sometimes it's the worst shit in the world, and you're like, in the soup of somebody's body, and then the only thing that you can think of is to be like, man, I'm really enjoy the shower tonight, or some
Right.
you know what I mean, just like anything to provide levity into the situation where you're like, look, this is my breaking point, so here's my defense mechanism, and it happens
exactly
to be worth money. Like, to be able to turn that around, I think, is a powerful tool. And I really like the way you express that, your voice, because a lot of people, I don't think, try to find that. You say comedian, and you usually find it for 2 to 4 years into something. But I think even in general, as a human being, a lot of people don't take that time to really find their identity within their own philosophical way of how to, speak or engage or to do anything, honestly. Like, shit, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, most people are driving to and from work, every day, trying to, like you were saying, pay those bills earlier. Like, hey, who the fuck is this? Calm, man. I'm not trying to have a stressful day. It's 4th of July weekend, right?
Yeah, well, I think I think veterans in general can relate to what we're saying, because
deeply.
You remember how it was in the military. We used humor a lot to get through some really weird times, and that's why, I formed a group called the Veterans of Comedy about 10 years ago with another comedian, my partner, William Clifton. We'll see. We formed the Veterans of Comedy, and we're just a group of veterans, comics who go around entertaining the troops. And we do a lot of cool stuff together. One thing we did was we developed a curriculum, like a course that we called Combat to Comedy. And for a couple of years, we had a contract with the DoD, with the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program, where we would take a bunch of wounded warriors, and these were people who were getting processed out of the Air Force for a variety of different reasons. A lot of it was PTSD. Some people had experienced like sexual assaults. Some people just had cancer, or they broke a leg or so, so we dealt with the whole gamut, the whole spectrum of different types of trauma. And what we would do was kind of teach them some of the storytelling skills that we've learned and kind of the structure of a joke. And we would emphasize the importance of finding the humor in a situation and the importance of how laughter is the best medicine, or at least it is a medicine. The phrase is that laughter is the best medicine. And I actually agree with that, because we would see some amazing breakthroughs. We would get people to be able to tell their story, and just being able to talk about it is such a huge first step towards healing when it comes to trauma and PTSD. We had a lot of people, after they graduated our class, be able to stand up in front of a couple of hundred other wounded warriors and tell their story. And 9 times out of 10, the story would start with, okay, I've never told anybody this, not even my wife or my parents, but this is what happened. And they would tell the story, and a lot of times they would make it funny. They would make tragedy sound funny. And when you're able to do that with something that you're dealing with, it takes away the negative power of it. And we actually saved a lot of lives like that. It didn't work on, I'm not going to say it's the perfect cure. It didn't work on everybody. And, sadly, we did lose a few people over the years. But just being able to use my comedy and my experiences to help people in that way has been payment enough. I kind of joked and said I've been broke ever since, which is kind of true. I mean, I'm not broke. I'm not poor. There's people, a lot worse off than me, but it hasn't been financially lucrative for me in a big way yet. I think I have some stuff on the horizon where, that may change, and it'll be good for a little while. Nothing's permanent, but it's been enough already. I've already received my payment with being able to help people, and I know that I'll be able to do it again. So I'm happy. Like, I've already, in my mind, I've already made it. I mean, it'll be nice to go viral and to get 1 million followers and to, have a Netflix special or whatever. But for me, I've already made it. I've got a special on VetTV.
Exactly.
So where the audience is the people that I love the most, the people that I care about the most.
And you're helping, I would say, exactly. You're helping the exact key you're hitting your demographic. Like with it, just solid strike, right? And I agree. You can't get more better than that, right? Who's to know what the future is, right? You got this great opportunity with the Heroic Hearts Project, coming on July 11th of this year. That's right, just next week, I believe. You're doing a great show with some big names, right? You got Brian. Brian's been on the show 2 or 3 times, I believe, with us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So me and Brian, we go way back, like before he really broke through. I actually had to give him. Awesome. He's so fucking great. Yeah. I had to give him a ride from fucking Santee to downtown San Diego to do the first podcast with him. And the whole drive, he was like, "So what's the name of this show again, Doc?" I'm like, "The Devil Doc Talk Show." He was like, the what? The whole ride, we couldn't figure out how to make the Devil Doc Talk Show sound good, like without it being too rhythmic, and it just didn't click with a lot of people. And then I was telling him, like, yeah, and actually I get a lot of people ask me if the show's about Satan and shit. And he goes, "What?" I go, "Nobody knows what a devil doc is other than fucking Marines."
Right, like you're a satanic doctor.
Right. They're like, "So you practice Santeria, voodoo, and medicine, like Western?"
That's crazy.
Like, no, kind of Christian, no big deal, but no, it's about helping the community. And I think with the VetTV, that taping I saw, it was great. Everybody was just really about the community. The jokes struck a chord with the audience. Again, bringing up that guy with the hysterical laugh. If he was laugh, it was a good time, right? Clearly. Mike Vinn, he's been on the show a couple times. Great guy. Always support for the veteran community. And there's you never know what's going to hit. Right. That's, I think, the beauty of being creative. It's the beauty and it's the stress. But learning, like you were saying, that BMX, knowing that what you're practicing is exactly how you want to practice it, finding your voice and hitting those demographics that you really care about. Like you were saying, you can hear the passion in your voice about, going there as a Marine to Iraq versus being a VIP. You see the difference, of course, in the experience between trauma, of course, like you were talking about, the education that you did with the wounded warrior guys with the Air Force. And those type of communities are very tight, and any loss hurts. And that's something that, I learned as a corpsman. You sadly can't save them all. And them is the community. It's the every brother and sister, or however they fucking identify. It's the human being that we care about. We want society to see the importance and value of our troops, our soldiers, our military members, but we're also kind of fucked up where we don't know how to communicate all this gay shit without saying like what I just said. Like, we're comedic about it. The darkness is something that it takes a lot of work to be able to communicate in a way that's approachable. Like, I remember it, dude, when I was going through that darkness by myself for a long time. I didn't know how to communicate to not only my support system, my wife, my children, but even my care providers, my psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, you name it. It was a part of that identity of I would say pride, massive pride, where I'm the corpsman. I'm supposed to be the guy that they come to help. And who helps me? Right. And seeing shows where you guys literally are hitting the dick jokes exactly like we used to, being in the BAS, hanging out with Marines that are malingering because they're actually just drunk, dropping IVs in each other, all of that shit. It just makes a man and anybody else breathe easier. Like with today's stress in the world, of course, with PTSD, mental health in general, I believe that you're doing a great job, man. Just honestly and 100%.
Well, thank you, man.
By all means, dude, I am just grateful to, have met you and see the show being taped. To be honest, I told my wife after the show, I came home and I was telling her because I come home and I just had to decompress. Like the whole event was like super awesome. Everybody was super nice. The gentleman with the kilt, fuck man.
Ebo.
Was it?
Ebo Brewer.
Him, bro. I could not believe how hard he was having me laugh about his back. Like, I know it probably actually hurts him, but
right.
As a person who also has a bad back, it was like exactly what I needed to hear to sit on that fucking tough ass chair they had. I was like, all right, my hemorrhoids are flaring up too, but I'm good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I think you guys do such a great program and such a great show, especially with the Mandatory Fun, because I was aware of it when it first launched, and I know everything with COVID happened and all the things happened, but it's amazing to see it coming back out, and it's Mandatory Fun Uncancelled, which makes perfect sense. Episode 1 with Erik Knowles. Of course, I'm gonna promote it constantly throughout the conversation. It's part of the job, right? So talking about July 11th a little bit more with the heroic, look at how I pronounce that, the Heroic Hearts Project. How do you prepare for something that is, again, it could seem a little dark, like, oh, it's PTSD, this is a heavy thing. How do you approach lightening the mood, but to also bring attention to a great organization like that?
Well, I'm going to do probably the same thing you saw me do at the taping. I'm just going to tell them my story and hope that it'll reach the right people. And I trust that it will. I'll probably do a few special things just for them. But to answer your question, how do you prepare for, what was it? Can you rephrase it?
Yeah, how do you prepare mentally? Like going in to something where you're aware of it clearly as a comedian, but also as a member in the military that has experienced traumatic experiences and has also helped others cope with comedy through their traumatic experiences, like you're bringing up with the Wounded Warrior Regiment with the Air Force, right? You have such a profound kind of behind the scenes knowledge. Like, how do you prepare mentally to not only be funny, but to communicate with your support system? Maybe, it's something triggers something somewhere, right? How do you go about making sure that you are there, you're performing as a professional, but you're keeping the overall mental health awareness and all that gay shit balanced?
Yeah, well, I just plan on being sincere. Like I said before, I'm going to tell them my story and try to allow them to see themselves in my story, and just try to be a living example that you can whistle past the graveyard and you will get past it. But you can't do it alone. We have to always encourage each other to reach out, call your old buddy, look up your buddy that you haven't talked to in years, check on him, see how he's doing. When you help other people, it actually helps you. When you reach out to somebody, you're actually reaching out to yourself too, in a way. And like we were saying before, as Marines and as, just Navy, Army, Air Force, any of that, as soldiers and sailors and airmen, we kind of have this machismo, this kind of unspoken belief that we're not supposed to talk about our feelings. And if we do, we got to be joking about it, and it's not always a joke. My whole career is joking, like PTSD is not a joke, but joking can help.
Sure can.
Yeah. The trick is to just talk about it. Just talk about it with somebody who understands. And a lot of times we don't think anybody will understand or anybody can relate. But when people hear me and people like me telling our stories, they'll see that it can be talked about and that it's okay. Look at me. I'm not perfect. I'm still struggling with a lot of things all the time, but I'm not afraid to share my stories and make myself vulnerable. And my whole story is about what a fuck up I was for 5 years in the Marine Corps. It wasn't fun for me at the time. It was something that I thought I would never look back to. You know, my attitude when I got out was that, you know, I never got like a military tattoo while I was in. But I remember thinking to myself and saying to some people that I'm going to get an Eagle, Globe, and Anchor tattooed on my back because it's behind me now, you know, and I'm never going to have to look at it again. You know,
that's a solid way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, I wasn't as smart as I thought I was, because the medicine is in there, in looking back and going back. I've physically gone back hundreds of times over the years, you know, to each military base. I've been to all the places I served and places I've never even served, you know, and it's helped me, and we can help each other, and you can't do it alone. And that's why we have organizations like, what was it?
The Heroic Heart
The Heroic Hearts Project. That's what I love about. There's a lot of these that we've never really heard of because they're small and localized, which is good. You know, there's the big name brand ones like Wounded Warrior Project that do good for whatever they're doing. But for me, I think the real work is being done in these small hometown startups, you know, these grassroots projects where people are just helping the people of their local community. And that's what I like to see a lot more of. This is Erik Knowles, and you're listening to the Devil Doc Talk Show. You can see my 20-minute comedy special, Mandatory Fun Uncanceled, streaming now on the VetTV app. You can also see me at Mothership Comedy Club in Austin, Texas, July 10th and 11th.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I've done tremendous amount of, you know, interviews with people, and just, you know, either on the show or just in general, talking with people about the community, about nonprofit organizations, you know, which ones do the best works, and, you know, which ones are worth actually double down and investing in, not just with money, right? There's a lot of investment with these organizations. I always like to promote one. It's called Operation Game On. Tony Perez, Pat Perez's father. Pat Perez, you know, everybody, the golfer guy, PGA guy, doing great stuff with the LIV for a while. Yeah, well, his father started an organization called Operation Game On. And if you like golf and are, you know, a wounded veteran, I think they opened it up not just for combat vets now. I think it's opened up for all wounded type. Don't mark my words, people. Check it on your own. Operation Game On. Well, anyways, that type of organization is very grassroots here in the San Diego area. Tony's an amazing dude. He loves the game of golf, right? And that's just the purity and sincerity in this man. Loves the game of golf, sets up the guys and girls and everybody with tailor-made, you know, custom fit clubs, every new generation that comes out. Right here at the Kingdom, I think it's in Carlsbad or Del Mar or some shit like that. And just one of those wonderful community-based nonprofit organizations that I love promoting, because not only did I benefit from it, but getting back out and playing the game of golf and just taking one swing at a time, right? That's really what a lot of what I hear in your stories is, looking back at it, but taking it with a grain of salt, finding that gold nugget from those experiences of adversity and moving forward, right? We're not going to hit a 300 fucking yard drive every time, right? Sometimes we're going to shank that shit into either some sand or the rough, or we're going to lose the ball completely, right? So that's one of the most powerful, I should say, connection points here that I could bring up, because I think everybody's fucked up with golf. Okay. I don't think everybody's tried stand up and won talent competitions against an 8-year-old with the flute.
Well,
but
that's just my story, and I'm just using the talents that God gave me. You know, like you were talking about the guy with golf. He's good at golf, so he's using his talents to reach out and to help veterans in his community. And that's what I like to see. I'm going to do a little show for some guys later this year out here in Texas. You know, I live way out in the woods. I tell people I live near Houston. I'm like a couple hours from Houston. I'm out in the country, and deer hunting is a huge thing around here. So opening week of deer season is really huge. People take off work and all of that. Well, there's this guy who owns this huge deer lease, 1,000 acres of preserve where there's deer and all this. And so opening week, he'll take a bunch of veterans, a lot of like paraplegic people in wheelchairs who don't get to go hunting very much. So what we're going to do is take them out there to the woods, wheel their asses all the way out into the woods and get them up into the deer stand and let them shoot a deer and take it home and put it in their freezer, because that's what we do out here.
Solid.
It's not so much for sport. We eat them,
Yeah. That's the beauty of hunting, I believe. Like I grew up, you eat what you kill. It's not necessarily just a trophy. Like, yeah, sometimes you can keep the antlers, but man, the brains is good, the eyeballs. I'm Mexican, so like we can eat it all. Right, bro? Like intestines, as long as it's not the warm season or whatever it is. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But that's beautiful, dude. So you guys take them out and are you going there as a comedian or are you going there as a guide?
I've agreed to go and do some comedy for him, but I'm hoping to kind of wiggle in and be able to actually take the guys out. I think that would do good for my heart. If nothing else, I'd like to be hands on.
That's awesome, dude.
And selfishly, maybe I'll get to shoot a deer.
It's always good. I mean, you're a veteran too, right? Might as well participate.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I loved about range days with the Marines being a corpsman, of course, like to plug the history again. I loved fucking range days. Like everybody I knew like would bitch about it. Like, all we got to do is sit out there all day. I'm like, yeah, but then you get to shoot if they let you. Like, yeah. And if they know you're interested in guns, they fucking let you. That's the thing. Yeah. It's such a great fucking trade-off.
That's cool.
That was seriously like a 240 was one of my favorite guns I ever got to shoot on the range in Iraq. And we were like, man, they were like, okay, just go, Doc. I'm like, all right. The fucker taps me on the helmet, right? I'm shooting good. And then he slaps me hard because I'm shooting so good. My fucking helmet comes all the way over, smacks the bridge of my nose. I can't see now. So I'm just holding it wherever I thought I was shooting it before. And he just keeps screaming, fuck yeah, Doc, yeah. And he just lets me go cyclic, And I'm like, cool, bro. Like, that was quick, but also awesome. And so it's always fun whenever you get to shoot. And honestly, hanging out with people that you care about and getting them to re-experience life. I think it's called whitetail fever is the beginning of the season, right? Or just when you're about to take your first deer.
Yeah, that's a phrase, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only phrase I've heard. Buck fever is another one. That's
a phrase that basically means like when you're so excited to see a deer that everything looks like a deer to you.
Oh my God.
People will shoot a tree branch because they think it's an antler sometimes.
Oh my God. Dude, that sounds like a great time. So that's out in Texas, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's anywhere they got woods, but I'm in Texas, yeah. Southeast Texas.
Southeast Texas. Man, I have family out in Brownsville, and I don't think I've ever actually been out there, man. I just know that it's hot.
Oh man.
And
super
humid.
Hot. Brownsville is like the southernmost town of Texas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like way down the tip.
It's down there, and then it touches to the coast.
That's Mexico, bro.
Yeah, it's hella Mexico. Dude, so man, like I talk to my grandpa about Brownsville all the time because that's where, the family is still. And he's like, Mijo, you gotta go. And I'm like, nah, didn't you just hear all that shit that happened in Matamoros, bro? Like, I'm cool. I'm not trying to figure out nothing.
Yeah, you should go, man. Get in touch with your roots, bro.
Yeah, that would be beautiful.
Just don't eat any of the food, man. You're in California, right?
Yeah, we're in San Diego.
Dude, that's the best Mexican food in the world right there.
You're telling me, man. Honestly,
you tell me some of this Tex-Mex, you'll be like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
Right. I hear about that all the time. And then my wife, she's actually from Mexicali. So when I was telling you about El Centro a bit ago, after an air show, I go down and we're drinking, having a good time in Mexicali. And that's where I met my wife. And I tell her to this day, the tacos is half the reason why I married her. It was like it's life altering. That's all the words I could think of.
Does she do tamales in the wintertime?
Nah. She's hella Mexican, like hella Mexicali Mexican, where you'd be lucky if she cooks because the taco guy, right? What I'm talking about is 5 feet. No, it's like 50 yards from her house. in Mexicali.
Oh,
So we don't have to cook. If it's dark, we just walk down the road and we
Hell
get
yeah.
fucking bomb ass tacos, like quesadillas, all that shit. And then bet those fish tacos. Here's a plug for everybody that's ever going to end up in Mexicali, right? Bet those fish tacos, the best fucking fish tacos you'll ever eat in your life, dude. And he comes with a side of fried onion rings. Ooh, boy.
fried onion rings. Okay.
Yeah. Makes me want to go back right now, in fact.
Dude, I book shows in San Diego just so I can eat tacos and burritos.
That is beautiful to hear. Like, honestly, that and the breweries out here nowadays.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what's up.
I'm not a big drinker anymore, but
That's good.
yeah, San Diego's got some good breweries for sure.
Yeah, you don't got to drink much with all the flights they have. You can taste little thing, all the different type of new stuff that come out with. It's a beautiful time. Beautiful time. So when's your next show?
My next show,
Besides the one on the 11th.
the 10th.
Wow. Okay. So you have a show
Yeah.
the 10th. What do you
I'm
got going on there?
My next shows are at the Comedy Mothership in Austin, Texas, July 10th and 11th. The 10th, I'm on their crew show, which is, I told you the talent coordinator bumped me up. He wants to take a closer look at me. So I'll basically be showcasing for him, and hopefully he'll like me and I'll get to be on some of the bigger shows. Ultimately, my goal there is to get on the Joe Rogan and Friends show and to get into Joe Rogan's radar. That's what I want to do just for my career and as a huge fan of Joe Rogan and everything he's ever done, all the way back to news radio. But
what a callback.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Right? He may have done something before that, but that's when I first noticed him.
Oh, wow.
I was a big fan of that show.
Honestly, what they got going on, it's called the Mothership, right?
Yes.
So it's just a great setup. I think it's in like the historic section or something. I can't remember the building. Something. Brian was promoting it,
It's called the Ritz.
It was the Ritz.
Yeah, it's called the Ritz. I think it was a movie theater at one time, and then it shut down for a while. I was reading the history on it, and then I think it was a porn movie theater for a while. Right? I was like, dude, I hope this is the one that Pee Wee Herman got busted in. Yeah. But which is such a weird concept, isn't it? Like, can you imagine like sitting in a theater with a bunch of other dudes that want to watch porn that bad? What a weird. No, thank you.
Like who came up with that idea?
Yeah, watching porn is not a group activity. Shouldn't be.
It should not be. We bring up the barracks earlier, and I know it happens, and it happened.
Well,
but nobody's half-assed and jerking. Okay, like there's like, oh, bro, you got to check out this new girl, Gianna Michaels. Like she's got the biggest knockers in the world, and you're like, nah. And then you start watching it, or oh my god, during deployment. I'm bringing up some old shit. Cytheria. Okay, Cytheria was her name. This is the first shit I've ever seen squirting. That was my first ever. I'm what the fuck is that? And it wasn't even a porn scene. It was on the Howard Stern show. I was yeah. She, honest, I would say, okay, like, let's just be honest. I never heard of it before her, and after her. You can't watch porn without seeing something squirt. Like, it's just like, it took off. That went viral, and it not an STD.
All right, I'm uncomfortable now.
Good. So
meaning
now
that
I'm gonna if I go see your ass at the Mothership, I'm gonna bring an ultraviolet light, and I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, the fuck is all over the floor."
No, it's perfectly clean now. Dude, seriously, it is one of the most perfectly built comedy clubs I've ever seen. It is the best one I've ever seen. Their showrooms are perfect. There's not one bad seat in there. It's fun to be around. It's beautiful. They've remodeled everything. They've got a bar attached called Mitzi's, named after Mitzi Shore, who was the founder and owner of the Comedy Store at Los Angeles, and there's one in La Jolla, California. She's like the godmother of comedians everywhere. Just the place is beautiful, man. And Joe knows exactly what he's doing. It's made by comedians for comedians, and There's superstars in there every night of the week. They do shows 7 nights a week, and I think almost every show is sold out constantly. And it's just, the energy in there is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite places to be. It's a 5-hour drive for me.
Oh my
and
God.
I still go once a month at least.
You're going to invest in a timeshare, buddy? Like shit.
I'm actually thinking about it. Yeah, I may need to, if I start getting more spots, I'm going to have to maybe rent a place or something.
Hit up Brian and be like, hey, bro, what's up with the roomie situation?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, at least for the weekend, you know what I mean? Be like, hey, can I Airbnb?
That might not be a bad idea. I don't know much about that. It sounds like a scam, but it might actually be, it might work for me.
It might, dude. Like, honestly, if you Airbnb whatever you invested in the area, because I know that whole area is hot for real estate.
It's
really
blowing
is.
up right now. Everybody's moving to Austin. It's like the mecca right now for comedians and for real estate, people flipping properties, businesses, restaurants. Like, it is booming in Austin, Texas right now.
That's beautiful to hear. I love hearing that because, we've gone through the past 3 years. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Don't stress. I'm not going to bring it up. Regardless of how you feel about politics, right? It's been a stressful 3 years, and to hear that there's a booming industry, a wonderful comedy club that's, literally built by and created for comedians. I think that's the best way to experience comedy, is to know that everybody in the room is there to bring laughter and joy and to create levity, right? We can't always be so serious, why so serious, right? But we can together as a community help each other bridge across, the next steps. Like, what's next in the world? We don't fucking know. Between Ukraine and World War III and fucking world hunger, I don't know. Climate change, fuck, I don't know. Wear shorts. Regardless, right? Put it on the air conditioner.
Yeah, shut up.
Right? Like, honestly, but either way, right, we're going to figure it out. And hopefully we can all just ice our tits a bit and fucking laugh it off like we used to. Like, I love comedy. That's like, I keep bringing up your special with VetTV. It's season 2, Uncancelled, Mandatory Fun, episode 1 with Erik Knowles. And I can't bring it up enough because when you guys were taping, like I was saying, it was one of a lull in my life lately, right? Like, we were bringing up PTSD, we're bringing up, all the different stuff about mental health awareness and stuff. I go through lulls constantly, and I'm always trying to ride that wave, right? And if I learned anything from surfing, you're gonna pearl, okay? That's where you just eat the wave's dick, and you're lucky enough if you get out of it, right? And that's okay. That's part of therapy. That's a part of life, and that's something that, when you get an opportunity, get outside of your shell just a little bit. Let others lift you up, okay? You don't have to be the funniest guy in the room. You don't have to be anything. You could just sit there and let others listen to your fucking laugh or story about little Miss Itchy Crotch here and there and have a good time, right? And that was beautiful. That was at the Grand Comedy Club in Escondido with VetTV. Met a lot of you guys out there with the Mandatory Fun and the Uncancelled. I believe you're episode 1. I think there's a lot of other comedians that are going to be coming out next, and that's on VetTV's app. It's $5 a month for subscription. Be sure to check them out. We're going to be talking with Erik a little bit longer here for promotion, and of course focusing on the next shows he's got going on the 10th, 11th of July at the Mothership. That's Joe Rogan's nice facility he's fucking built out, which sounds amazing. Brian brought it up and was sharing a bunch of the bottom of the barrel, I think, is one of the things he's doing, which is great. Everybody doing their thing and speaking their truth and their voice and getting people to, again, like I said, put that heavy weight we've been dealing with the past 3 years aside and start laughing our asses off and building our community back. Of course, with the veterans, every day there's a lot of statistics out there. We lose a bunch of us, but we could be helping each other by lifting each other up by simply, again, sharing, subscribing, and listening to people like Erik Knowles, who's done this comedy business for 16 years now?
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
I think.
Wow.
Something like that. I started in 2005, whatever that math is.
No, that's too much math for me right now.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it.
It's been a long time.
That's a good turnaround though. So you've been doing it for 16 years, and as you're building out, where do you see yourself in the future? Of course, still keeping true to the whole idea and concept of your character, which is, veteran based, but who knows which direction it could actually take. I think a lot of people watch, I introduced Apocalypse Now to my cousin, like when I got home from Iraq, right? He never seen the movie before in his life. Okay. But every fucking day after that was, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. And I'm like, dude, you're fucking killing me, bro. So, I mean, there's transcendence of comedy. There's transcendence of story in life, I feel. And bridging those social gaps. How do you see yourself moving forward? Say 5 years from now when you're already 20 years into this thing.
You know what? I hate to try to predict the future, but if I can just maintain what I'm doing, I'll be happy. If I had to set some goals, like I said, I'd like to become a little more established with Joe Rogan's club. I would like to do more things with VetTV. I'm actually talking with them. They're going to start doing a show kind of like The Onion, like a fake news show, but it'll be the Military Onion.
Nice.
They'll name it something different. I'm going to do some writing with them. I wouldn't mind having, my own show on VetTV, like my own series. I don't know what that would look like. Maybe a sketch show or just a show kind of about what we've been talking about how laughter and comedy can help in the veterans and in our veteran community. But I'd like to be more involved with VetTV. If I can just, like I said, if I can just keep doing what I'm doing, keep entertaining the troops, keep touching lives, then I'll be happy. And of course, I'd love for everybody to follow my freaking TikTok, Erik Knowles Comedy on TikTok.
Nice.
Trying to grow that thing.
Yeah, social media is beyond me sometimes. Like you were saying earlier, it does help to have a nice pair of tits. Now I know why there's so many transgendered people. Okay, because man,
right.
if I got bitch titties. Don't get me wrong, I'm getting older, I'm a little chunky. But if I had a nice round set of tits, not only would I get banned from the White House, but P.S. I would be probably life would be a little bit easier. Oh my God.
Oh, let me plug another thing. This one's kind of down the road, but September 6th through 9th, I'll be at the Looney Bin Comedy Club in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa,
That's another one of my
Oklahoma.
favorite clubs. Yeah, out there in middle America. People forget about Tulsa, don't they?
Dude, that's beautiful. No, I don't. I just spoke with Jared Napier, fellow Navy corpsman, another fellow Devil Doc. This guy, he's doing so much for the community on the therapeutic side, religious side, if you want to get into it. Yeah, he's doing a lot of the psychedelic therapies and helping connect and bridge the new generation of modalities.
Saw that on the previous episodes. Yeah, I was looking through those. I want to go back and listen to that.
It's an interesting conversation.
Like, I'm into that.
Dude, that's awesome, because you know what? It is tough to talk to people on the show that, unless you know that, hey, no, like I either smoke or, I'm interested in other modalities. I always kind of like, hey, you ever tried mushrooms?
Dude, bro, hey, next time I come to San Diego, let's eat some mushrooms and go on a journey, bro. I'm down.
Fucking fly. I'm down.
Woo!
Man.
I'll take you to the real mothership, bro.
We'd be floating.
Yeah.
That would be dope. But so Jared actually has a therapy center down there. I'm going to connect with him so he can at least go out to that show in September for sure. And it's the Looney. I just wrote it.
Looney Bin.
Looney Bin in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's awesome.
Looney Bin Comedy Club.
That is beautiful to hear. So back to the mushrooms. Okay, just to round the conversation up a bit. Why not?
Sure.
Right? What is your preference? Is it Cubensis? Is it do you prefer the actual mushroom, or do you prefer like an isolate or a concentrate?
I've never tried anything except for the Cubensis, the go find it in the cow pasture.
Nice. The psilocybe Cubensis. Yes. Very good.
Yeah.
Those things changed my life. Okay. Like I know it's fun and everybody has a good time with them and they're special in the heart, right? But my God, like I never did mushrooms in my life. You know, I grew up country boy, and all the kids around me, you know, they tried it, and I was the geek in NJROTC. I was like, I can't do nothing wrong. So, but when I came to this culminating, like, experiential realization or disillusionment, if you will, on Western modern medicine, I tried the cubensis, and it changed everything. Like, it's okay what we're going through, like, spiritually, emotionally, it's fun. It's not what you see on television, at least my experience.
No.
But it was just like this warm blanket, just like, girl, everything's going to be all right. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be all right. Fuck.
Right. That's the biggest thing is, like, it makes you know, it makes you understand. It's not, I won't say it makes you think it, because it's true. It makes you understand that it's okay, that it doesn't matter. No matter how big of a mountain you have in front of you, it puts it into perspective and makes you realize that it's just a pebble you can walk past. You know,
I love that.
They did, John Hopkins or whatever did a real research on it with.
I used to smoke dope with John Hopkins.
Me and Johnny Hopkins.
Me and Johnny Hopkins getting high in the car. Oh my God.
Yeah, but no, they had like an 87% success rate with making people smoke cigarette or not stop smoking.
To make them, that's a great study. How do we make people smoke more cigarettes? Brought to you by Marlboro.
Oh no, they got that figured out, dude. They got that.
That and Coca-Cola, but they took away the the cocaine. Either which way.
Yeah, they say they did, but why this?
It
never slowed down, did it? The sales never dropped.
That's the corn syrup, from what I hear.
Right,
they say sugar. Yeah, they say sugar's actually more addictive than any other drug. And I'm like, I can believe that, bro.
Yeah. It's in everything. If you want them to sell more of whatever you're selling, put sugar in it.
That's the truth. I wish that they would do some kind of like mushroom sauce, like ragu or like prego, which means like great or something. I don't even know. I'm not Italian. But like if they just did like the mushroom, they put like with kimbensis, right? like, could you imagine? Like, here's some skit shit you could write up for the VetTV. Just like, not only we go into antique shows.
That sounds like a real business idea.
I could see it now. The Italian Stallions new fucking sauce with cubensis.
Italian Stallion, dude, I love it.
Oh my God. All I'm thinking about, as I said, Italian Stallion, is the new Sylvester Stallone show. He's doing like a reality show, and I guess on one of the broadcasting stations that we subscribe to as a family, I saw it being promoted, and I was like, dude, I remember when that guy did porn. My wife's like, what are you talking about?
No kidding. I think it was called the Italian Stallion.
I think it was. That's part of the whole prego.
You want to ride the stallion, huh?
You like my sauce? Now with cubensis. Yo, Adrian!
Adrian's tripping. Tripping balls.
Oh my God. Yeah, mushrooms are a trip, but they're fucking amazing. I think as a modality, we need to, again, like open it up like cannabis. But not like cannabis, because cannabis has gotten pretty bad.
There's a few states where you can go buy it at the head shop or at the dispensary.
I know they decriminalized it. I didn't know they were already selling it like that, though. Fuck, I
think so, yeah. Like Oregon, Washington, and Oregon for sure. I think Colorado even has it recreationally.
You know, for as liberal California is, we're really not that cool when it comes to shit like that.
I think you can't get... I thought it was legal.
It's decriminalized. So the difference between legal and decriminalized, it's like you don't want to get caught with it still, because there's the interpretation of law. It's based off of the officer's perspective. You know, how much do you have? Like, I'm cool. I'm not trying to fuck around with that shit. You know what I mean? Not yet.
Yeah.
But when it gets legalized, like if there's a medicinal route for it, that they have that here now already. In fact, Double Blind Magazine did an interview with them a few years ago, and they did a recent article or one of their releases on a gentleman that right down the street from where I live, literally, shit you not, the La Jolla Indian Reservation. He does 12-gram therapeutic sessions.
What?
Yes. 12.
Bro.
That's,
I thought, bro.
that's,
I thought I was an astronaut. 12 grams is crazy.
yeah. I read that. I was like, wow.
I've done like 7.
The most I've ever did was 5 grams. And then I tried the microdosing, which was more consistently favorable for me. I like,
Really? That's something I haven't tried.
oh my God, try it.
Really?
Yes, dude,
You take like
microdosing.
what, 1 gram or half a gram?
Let's see, what was I doing? I would take 3.5, grind it up, and then I'd get 8. So 8 out of 3.5.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know. So it'd be like maybe 200 milligrams.
You'd be doing an eighth of an eighth.
Yeah. So maybe like 800 no, it would be like 200 milligrams. Yeah. Very light dose, you know, super
So you're
solid.
not feeling what you would feel on like a eating 3 grams or 5 or whatever.
Not at all. In fact,
Well,
it's like,
what effect does it have?
so that's kind of like, you know, that the depression, you know how it kind of creeps up and your mood starts shifting and you get lethargic and, you know, I'm just describing more symptoms of the PTSD, but the depression's also there. What I noticed was there's a pathway, you know, there's of course everybody will acknowledge now there's a chemical pathway, blah, blah, blah. What happens is the way that your hormones are when you're depressed, you're chemically different than when you're not. All right. And the intriguing part about psilocybin and the components of how the alkaloids break down in your body, whatever, it's been shown you don't even need the micro or macro dose. The micro dose gives you a benefit, kind of like a vitamin would, where as you build up every day, this micro dose, or even like with cannabis, I talk about cannabis a lot. You don't have to smoke an ounce. You can smoke, you know, a gram a day. However, the effects and affects are for you. Start out low and slow, like with any medication, right? That's the Corman talking. Any medication, start low and slow. You can always take more, but you can't take less. And what I noticed was it helped tremendously curve the stuck points, so to speak. So we talk about stuck points in PTSD therapy. It's one of the most effective ways to learn what is your triggers and what holds you back, right? And as you're going through these stuck points, you become more of an observer and you're not so latched onto the emotionability of the experience. You still feel it. You're like, man, this is really upsetting. But instead of going, goddamn motherfucker, shut up, right? It's more or less like, all right. Like this is one of the things. You can start working those steps to therapy, which I also find excruciatingly important.
That's what I like about it, is it makes you, instead of being in the emotion, it kind of makes you an observer of the emotion. It kind of puts you outside of the box looking at it. Huh.
Yeah. Like microdose, bro. Check it out.
All right.
And you can still macrodose. Like clearly this Indian dude or Native American, I'm sorry, did I just fucking racial slur something? My bad. This Native American man, he does.
What did you say? I missed it.
I said Indian.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I know, but it's like
they're still Indians. They don't mind. They call themselves Indians.
Yeah, they do. There's so many tribes where I'm at that literally, instead of having all of their names on the facility, it's called 5 tribes, and nobody knows all 5 of them except the tribes themselves, which is great.
Yes.
But the La Jolla Reservation one, the dude does 12-gram heroic. I think that's beyond heroic doses. But he does the whole yurt thing and, you know, the native, you know, traditional spiritual path of enlightenment behind it. It's not just a bunch of guys hanging out doing shrooms, but it's pretty amazing what they do out there. But microdose now, like you were saying, try it, bro. Like it helped apply the therapies. And then you learn like, hey, you know, even after microdosing, you're going to have to move forward without substances, like at all. Like I don't like even drinking coffee every day. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about sugar, right? Sugar's more addictive than crack. But if you eat it every day, you're going to be a fat fuck. And I don't know if you're even allowed to say that anymore, but you know, I don't want to be a flabby daddy. I want to be around the kid. I don't want diabetes. Like how that guy says it on the commercials, diabetes. I don't want to lose my feet, you know? So we always try to work these modalities and therapies, and I'm always trying to promote better ways, better days. That's my gay shit right now. I'm saying a lot, better ways and better days, and applying therapies daily. Yeah. So to kick it back to you, bro, when the special came out on VetTV, and it's called Mandatory Fun Uncensored, Season 2, Episode 1. Erik Knowles. Uncancelled. Fuck.
Yeah. That's all right. It's also uncensored, so it's not untrue what you said.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. Great for the support.
Yep, you're still good.
Nice. Now, when that came out, how did it feel to start promoting this episodic type of venture for you?
To start promoting what?
Like this episode thing, you know what I know.
I'm sorry.
How did it feel to start doing this shit? Honestly, like at all. Like I'm like I don't even know how to like word of.
Dude, it feels amazing. It feels amazing. It's like I'm finally getting to where I've kind of always wanted to be. I wanted to figure, because it's been such a struggle figuring out how to make a career out of what I do. Because I mean, stand-up comedy is one thing, but like my niche is veterans and performing for the troops, and it's really hard to monetize that, first of all, because I don't like to charge a lot for if I'm doing a benefit show for a veteran organization. You know, the idea is to raise money for them, so I don't want to take a lot of money from their budget doing that. You know, I'd like to get $5,000 a gig, you know, like a lot of comedians do that are on my level. But I can't really do that. And I'd like to figure out, how do I reach a huge portion of my audience of military and veterans? And VetTV has come along and figured it out. You know, they've got them all in one place. They've got like 1.5 million veterans and active duty people watching their shows every day. And so now I'm finally getting the exposure that I've been looking for. And it's just been amazing, you know. It's like it's all come to fruition at this point. And it's only the beginning, really. I think it's going to get bigger and better from here, and it'll start making more sense, and it'll start making money, perhaps, you know, which I almost feel bad about saying that I want to make money from what I'm doing.
Nah, don't feel bad about that shit. Money is value. You know, honestly, like I in my life, I've had lots of conversations about money. Of course, being a human being, I think being a mature human being, it becomes a point of interest and necessity in our society and community, because a lot of people relate or correlate money with evil or greed.
Yeah.
And you're right in saying that you would like to be paid what your value is. That's what I'm hearing. And that's the truth. Why wouldn't you? Like, that's the whole point of, you know, bringing acknowledgement and exposure, is to understand the value. And how do most people understand value? Money. Like, what is this in dimes and dollars, right? And I just had this conversation with the gentleman, which was based off of another entrepreneur speaking about his profession, which is logo design. And this gentleman's, you know, time is worth, I don't even know what, to contract with the project, right? It was like $5,000, 18 grand, whatever. And he goes, if it takes me 5 minutes and I get you the perfect logo, right? You love it. It works. It's exactly what you wanted. And it's the vibes, whatever, you know, the cool kids are saying. That's facts, right?
Right.
Smacks is bussin', right?
Smacks, yeah.
So the guy goes, well, you know, and I charge you $5,000 for that 5 minutes. He goes, well, why would I pay you if it only took you 5 minutes? He goes, well, what if I told you it took me 5 hours and charged you the same, but it only actually took me 5 minutes? He goes, well, then I would expect you not to charge me as much, right? And he goes on to the conversation. It's like, what do you actually value? Is it money or time? Is it effectiveness? Where's your value, right? And so you can't, I'm learning the same thing. Like, I love the fact that I do this pro boner, you know, completely free. I keep my overhead as minimal as possible, because it's not small. I shouldn't say small, because I was looking at the numbers today. You know, numbers always going to make you humble, but when you see that,
Yeah.
you know, people in Cairo are listening, or the UK, you know, like in the past month, we've had listeners in Africa, we had listeners in Australia, listeners in Mexico, all throughout the United States, right? And
Yes.
like I was saying before, even one viewer or one listener, if they hear this, you know, the promotion, of course, show today about VetTV and Mandatory Fun Uncancelled, season 2, episode 1 with Erik Knowles, and they keep hearing me say that, and they go, motherfucker, or bonjour, motherfucker. Like, I don't know. However they're hearing us and wherever they're hearing us out, that's the goal. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
eventually, money's going to come into the picture. And for you, I see it coming in faster than probably you see, which is good. Like, as an observer, you're hitting the right keynotes, you're hitting your demographic, and of course, you know, doing a special for VetTV and doing the season work and getting the writing and getting that networking. And then, of course, you know, fucking punch Brian in the dick and be like, bro, start lick fucking Joe Rogan's ear hole. All right, say my name. Like, let him know.
I think he's doing. I think he's doing some of that for me behind the scenes. Anyway.
Of course, that's what every brother does. You know what I mean? And that's the beautiful thing. And you're hitting that path and you're doing it right. So to wrap it up today, Erik, I really want to hear more about what you got going on to recap again the shows. I know we've promoted them a little bit throughout the show, but to just go back to hear your voice say it, it's always nice for me.
All right. Well, let's see. Yeah, I appreciate that. So I'll be doing a lot of shows coming up. July 10th and 11th, that's Monday and Tuesday, I'll be at the Comedy Mothership in Austin, Texas. The 10th is a crew show, so you get to see a lot of the Mothership regulars. That's at 7:30 in the Little Boy Room, is what they call it, the small showroom. And then on Tuesday, the early show is the fundraiser for the veteran organization. And the late show will be Bottom of the Barrel with Brian Simpson. And then in September, I mentioned, let's pull that up in front of me again. Damn it. We'll fix this in post.
You're doing great. We'll fix it in post.
All right. And then September 6th through 9th, I'll be in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Looney Bin Comedy Club. Tickets are available now at looneybencomedyclub.com.
Nice. So
and I'd like people to follow my TikTok, trying to build my TikTok so I can go live and show my big titties on there. You can find me on TikTok at ericknowlescomedy.com. And if I get to 100,000 followers, I'll show you my wife's titties.
Nice.
Yep.
Hopefully she's aware of it.
That, but I'll do it.
Oh my God. Speaking of making money, somebody was saying that you just take random pictures of your wife's feet, and without her knowledge, you know, you make so much money that you buy her a new car and she'll be happy about it.
I love that. I might do that.
I might do that too. Like, shit.
She is.
All right. So, Erik, go ahead.
I'll just take pictures of my own feet and say they're my wife's feet, and then she can't even be mad.
Paint your toenails and shit. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Who's going to know?
Who? Yeah. You know, honestly, who is going to know with today's day and age?
I don't know. I'm sure there's some foot connoisseurs out there that'll be like, no, that's a dude foot. I can tell by it's got an Adam's apple. I don't know how you would tell it.
The hairy fucking, the hair wouldn't even, you couldn't discriminate, because if it was like a Puerto Rican lady, you know, like they're fucking everywhere hairy. Like, come on.
No shit. Is that right?
Oh my God, yes. How is this new to you? Oh, yes. Like, you want to talk about fur burgers, like, just straight up, man. Eastern Europeans, fucking Arabs, you name it. I don't know what they put in the water, but they are hairier than shit.
Probably Brazilians, too. That's why they invented the Brazilian wax, right?
Yeah, I mean, yep. Now that I'm thinking about it. The ones that aren't probably worried about it are like the Asians. I've never seen a hairy Asian.
Right?
Yep.
Maybe it's the rice.
Maybe it is. Or the kimchi, whatever they eat out in Korea.
Oh, yeah. Fermented cabbage.
Yeah.
Just kills the hair.
Builds it up. Just removes it. Then you got the other shit where everybody's just hairy. But to focus it in, you got this wonderful thing going on, which is
We suck at staying on topic.
even pre-show. We were like, all right, we got notes. We want to keep it tight. I know.
Right? Nah, we're gonna be sloppy. That's all right.
It's all good. So you have the show Uncancelled, Mandatory Fun Season 2. You got your TikTok promotions going on. And you got these new shows coming up, of course, in July, which is this month. Fuck, I just realized. Wonderful. July 10th and 11th at the Mothership. Man, it sounds like you got a lot going on. I'm so glad that we got you on today to kind of shoot the shit, of course, promote what you got going on. And if I could say one thing about today is I am absolutely humbled and grateful to have you on, to share your experiences and to have seen it live, of course, at the VetTV taping there at the Grand Comedy Club in Escondido. It was an experience that, like I was saying, it was just exactly what I needed right at the right time to make sure I don't slip back into my funky business and stuff with my stuff. And
well, good.
Yeah, it was super helpful, dude. Like super amazing. Like I can't be corny enough about saying the timing was just very perfect. So when you reached out, I was like, fuck yeah, bro. Like anytime.
All that happens for a reason, man. I completely believe that.
Same here.
God puts me where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. And I'm just I'm happy to be there doing it.
That is so true. Amen to that, brother. I'll tell you that.
Yes, sir.
Amen to that. So to wrap it up, I just would like to say thank you again. And for our listeners, we had Erik Knowles. That's Erik Knowles Comedy on the TikTok. Make sure you go on the TikTok. If you don't have a TikTok, get a TikTok just to follow Erik then. And let's get him to 100,000 and let's get him to 100 million. Fuck it. We'll share this exclusively in Chinese.
Yeah,
so
like
that the billions of people in China and Southeast Asia will know. Oh, that'd be great.
I'll entertain enemy troops. I don't care.
Right? Be like, hey, I hope you're all ready to die for your country.
Yeah, I'll get them all laughing and distracted, and then we'll come in with carpet bombs.
Straight up. Well, and you know what? With all the technology, you wouldn't even have to be there. You'd be like a projection.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fuck yeah. We'll use a drone to do it. All right, Erik. Again, thank you for your time. This was Erik Knowles, and this is where we wrap.
Internet. Hello.